What are you looking at? What makes this one tough to call for you?
Okay, let me first say,
Yeah.
before I retired and I was a print columnist, I would have to make a prediction and say who was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
If I were writing a column now, I would have to come up with a winner. But I'm retired, and I can make an admission. I don't know who's going to win this game. I wish I could tell you. Say, oh, Lowell, he's copping out. I'm not copping out. These are two really good teams. This game is the best game of the season so far in the whole league. Would you agree, Iggy?
I would agree. Yes.
And
Yes.
the Niners are so intriguing because they merit this game. The Raiders aren't going to be in a game like this.
No.
Carolina is not going to be in a game like this. The
Mm-mm.
Niners are so terrific, they can stand up to Philadelphia. And
Yeah.
and as a result, this is the game of this coming weekend. This game. The reason I can't make choose a winner is because I can see each team beating the other one.
Yeah.
I could see, for example, the Niners running on Philly, Purdy getting off fast. I could see the
Yeah.
Niners confusing Hurts because he's not as shrewd as Mahomes or as Brock Purdy. I could see that. On the other hand, I could see Philadelphia, their defensive line, manhandling the Niners' offensive line. So the Niners can't run and they hurt Purdy, and they've already hurt Purdy once. I could see it going both ways. These are two tough, smart, skilled teams. So for me to pick between them, I would be lying. I
Yeah.
would. I'm going into this team with absolute fascination and a big question mark before my eyes. And Iggy, I apologize that I'm not picking a winner.
I'm trying my best to work it out in my head. So why are the Eagles a tough matchup? First of all, one thing they did last year, they don't really react to play action. Their attitude in the D line is we're sacking the quarterback. It's one of the reasons they're not that they can their defense is a little suspect, but they have a great pass rush. That's the one thing about their defense. They don't really react to play fakes. They don't really react to the run. And so the Niners tried to come out and do this slow developing play action pass and get the ball downfield to Ayuk, who was open. Great. But you didn't block Hassan Reddick, who didn't hesitate at the play fake. He didn't think, oh my God, it's a run play. He's like, no, I'm coming for the quarterback. That's how they're
Uh,
coached to do it. And the Niners are very much a play action team. So what are you going to do there, Kyle? Are you going to double down and show everyone that you were smart to block Hassan Reddick with the tight end last year, and you're going to keep doing that because that's how you run play action? Or are you going to get rid of play action and try to win without that aspect of your offense? Like, that's a big question for me. I think the Eagles defense is weak, and they have a bunch of older corners, but they have one guy in Darius Slay who is 32, but he's really good. Number 2. You saw him in that game. If you put him on Ayuk, that's a tough matchup for Ayuk. And I'd like to see if it's possible the Eagles could kind of force the Niners to go through Debo and Kittle, which to me isn't as dangerous as going through Ayuk. And then, so it's like, how do they block Hassan Reddick? What are they going to do if Darius Slay matches up with Ayuk? And how's the rain going to affect Brock Purdy? That's another one. He wasn't good in the rain in Cleveland. And then the Niners haven't been good against mobile quarterbacks. Like, are you prepared for this unique style of offense? It's nothing like what you saw from Jacksonville or Tampa or Seattle. This is a real dual threat quarterback. It's assignment football. Who's in charge of Jalen Hurts on run plays, on pass plays? It's different. It's a different style. And I feel like I think the weather's a big deal. We saw it was raining really hard in that game. I don't think the Niners have played a game like that this year. I think the weather is going to affect them more than it's going to affect the Eagles. I think the Niners have a smaller quarterback with smaller hands who might have a bigger issue with a wet ball. And we've seen the Niners. They play their worst in the rain. For whatever reason, I don't know. They don't practice with the wet ball. Some teams do. The Niners don't. And I think the weather is going to be an issue. I'm picking the Niners to lose 24-20. If it wasn't in the rain, I might think it'd be closer, like 27-24, but I'm thinking Eagles 24-20.
I think you made a very good case, and you're so smart. The stuff you could talk about, but let's stay with this a moment. Some
Mm-hmm.
people watching right now are going to say you're disloyal, you're a hater, you don't like the 49ers. Um, how would you respond to that?
I'm just trying to be consistent. I picked the Eagles to beat the Niners in the NFC Championship game. They did. But the Niners feel that was a fluke game and it wasn't really indicative of what the matchup would be if Purdy was healthy. Okay, well, I disagree. I still pick the Niners to win that, the Eagles to win that game. I'm picking them to win this game. And if the Niners find a way to win, I'm going to praise them like through the roof because I think this is that tough of a matchup for the Niners. It'd be a big win for them. Usually, if you pick them to win and they do win, you could be like, I saw this coming. Like, I think it'd be a really big deal, even though they're 2.5-point favorites on the road.
Another question. A lot of people are saying the game means more to the Niners than the Eagles. The Niners will be more up for the game. Do you give any credence to that point of view?
Sort of. Yeah, I think there is something to that in the sense that if the Niners lose, they have 4 losses. A lot of teams have 4 losses. If the Eagles lose, they have 2 losses. They're still in great shape. So I think they're both professional teams. They both want to win. The Niners aren't. I mean, the Eagles aren't coming into this game being like, hey, we can let this one go. But I think the Niners have a desperation and urgency that the Eagles can't fake this week. That being said, Eagles seem to hold themselves to their own standard. Right? How do you win 27 out of 29 if you don't have your own standard? And they've just beaten some really teams. If the Niners win this game, they could call themselves the best team in the league. They just beat the team that beat the Chiefs and the Bills in back-to-back weeks. If they lose this game, they're like, yeah, we're not as good as the Eagles. We told ourselves we were. We're not. And now we're just another team with 4 losses.
If the Niners beat the Eagles in Philadelphia, they're the best team in the league.
They're the best team in the league.
Yeah, they're the best team in the league. So, okay, they are playing for more. Now, for me, I think professional athletes try hard every day, but I'm not in their heads. It it may feel different to the Eagles. Another question, Iggy.
I mean, we saw the Niners. They beat the Cowboys and went on like a 3-week mental vacation afterwards. So funny things happen.
Yeah.
Admitted to it, right? They said at the end of our mental vacation, we realized we really got to take this seriously and take it one game at a time. Thank you. Wow, Fred.
Oh, okay. So we're saying it matter what's at stake in the game for each team. What about the alleged bitterness between the team? What after last they got beat, Ayuk said some stuff and Debo said some stuff, and then Reddick said some stuff yesterday. Do you think that kind of verbiage that goes out over the media has any effect on the game?
It's a good question. It wouldn't in baseball. It wouldn't in basketball. But football is a very violent sport and it's very emotional. So I think maybe early in the game, maybe. But it's also such a long game. It's so exhausting. I think after a while, like that stuff is going to be old news. So maybe for the first few plays, one play, a series, and then no, probably not.
I agree with you. After all, after that, you're trying to win the game and you're doing business.
Yeah, and you're too tired to give extra energy to that.
Yeah, and if you need that to be motivated, he said, then really you're not a professional. You should motivate yourself.
Right, and really, I mean, that's for the Eagles, right? The Niners sort of complained after the game and said they shouldn't have lost, and the Eagles took offense to it. Well, okay, well, this is your chance to prove it again. The Niners, Debo was asked about it yesterday. Ayuk was asked about it yesterday. Both essentially said, we don't want to talk about it anymore. We're not going to, we're just, what do you think?
Well, I heard they didn't want to talk. I know how those things work. It's not like they came in independently and said, we don't talk about it anymore. Kyle told them, or Kyle had someone tell them, shut up.
Shut up.
Don't get into that. We're talking about football. We're not talking about grudges. They were told, Iggy, I wasn't there, but I'm telling you, they were told, button your lips.
Agree. And to me, like when you start talking like that, it doesn't necessarily, I think the big thing is not what it does for the other team, but what it reveals about you.
Tell me.
You're not focused.
Not focused.
You should be thinking about your game plan. Like there's way too much going on. Don't talk about that. That is so off the point. You're not focused. That's the way I look at it. And the Eagles are the ones doing it this week.
Yeah. You don't win by shooting your mouth.
No.
You win by winning.
Really don't. And I know in like fighting, you promote the fight by shooting your mouth off. It's something you have to do in the UFC and boxing, but in football, it's not the culture. Once you start doing stuff like that, it makes you feel like you're not really ready for this game. You're not
And
really
you're
ready
not
for the
confident.
seriousness.
You're
You're not
not
confident.
confident.
Yep.
So,
Confident teams say stuff like, we're just going to let our play talk. We're not going to get into it.
yeah. And Sirianni, again, I don't know him, but should not be pleased that Reddick is shooting his mouth off. Shut
No,
up. Do what
it's
you
not
need to
useful.
do. Not useful.
No. And really, this is the attitude. What Ayuk and Debo did yesterday is what they should have done after the loss in the NFC Championship game. They got it right now, but you don't want to go on a bunch of interviews afterward and be like, we should have won. No, you say what you said in the locker room yesterday. It's over. We'll see him next time. We'll get him next time.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
And there's something about losing gracefully. You know, we forget about sportsmanship because there's so much money involved and egos. There's something about being a good loser,
I agree.
not accepting loss or liking loss, but losing in a men's sport. I'm going to use the word like a gentleman, or in a woman's sport like a gentle lady. You lost, you stand up to it, you own it, you move on. You
Agree. I think
praise the opponent.
it's a
You don't
stronger,
bitch.
more confident move than saying we should have won.
Yeah.
We got screwed.
Yeah. It's weak. That's very weak and childish.
It's very childish. Yeah. Agree.